stress, no overextending, no L's, just lessons, no failures, no weapon that formed against you shall ever mess with your endeavors. No L's, just lessons, new mail, new questions, new money that's written, new life get to live in. It's a new year that's a given. Welcome to the new year. They say you won't, but you will. Climbing over 2 hills, I love you just like Drew Hill. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Distance Traumas. I'm your host, Lisa Styles. Thank you for tuning in. I pray everyone had a blessed and safe week. If not, I hope and pray it gets better. If you haven't prayed this morning, you should take a minute and say a quick prayer, because prayer does changes things. All right. Let's get into this week's episode. This week's episode, we are going to be discussing the puppet master. I know you're probably wondering what I mean by the puppet master, but when I was younger, my mother used to try to control the way my brother and I felt about my father, because they was now divorced. And it was a time where my mom had punched me in my face and gave me a black eye, and my father came to the house and I had on some sunshades, and he asked me why I had those shades on, so I took them off and he saw I had a black eye, and that made him furious, so he decided to try to get us, through the courts. But for some reason, I feel, in my heart, he didn't fight hard enough, but he said he did, but nevertheless, he did not win. And she used to abuse me a lot. If you ever listen to any of my other episodes on my podcast, you would know the type of abuse that I endured living with my mother. But she would try to control us and tell us not to love our dad and everything. And because I look like him, I got beatings every day because I look like my father. And she could not stand it. And plus, one day I looked her straight in her face. I said, I don't care what you say or what you do. I would not hate my father. I actually love my father more than I love you. And why did I say that? She slapped me across my face like I was a slave in the field talking back to master. She slapped the black, the eyeballs, the lips, my hairline, my edges. She slapped everything to the left. But guess what? I still stood strong and I took it. And I just sucked those tears up. And I said, I still love my daddy. And that made her even more furious. Because with that slap that took my whole facial expression away, it still didn't change my opinion of my dad. But with my middle brother, because my oldest brother, we don't have the same father as him. It's just me and my middle brother that has the same father. I actually never met my older brother's father. I had never seen a picture or nothing. I actually just found out what his name was a couple of years ago. But she could control him. So that's when I gave her the name, the Puppet Master. Do y'all know someone or have someone or been around someone who acts like that, like a puppet master? Maybe your mom, maybe your dad, or a relative, or even kids in school that control other kids, and had them doing what they wanted them to do. Those are puppet masters. And with what I endured from my mom as a child, so many people knew about it. They knew about it, especially the beatings. You can't tell me y'all didn't know the beatings, because you know my mom's attitude, you know my mom's demeanor, you know my mom's characteristics, you know my mom's flaws, you know my mom has an attitude that's worse than a junkyard dog and a black snake mixed together. Her attitude is worse than a raccoon with rabies. So if she jump on your ass at the drop of a dime, she's going to jump on her kid's ass at the drop of a dime if they don't do what she say. And you know this because you was around a few times when I got my ass tore up. But they just sat around and didn't do anything. Especially the ones that practice the devil worshiping witchcraft stuff like she did. I know y'all know. I even had a conversation with one of my aunts recently, and well, two of my aunts, and my mother is going to tell them that her biggest problem with me is my parenting skills. Excuse me? So you're mad at me because I helped my son with his homework? You're mad at me because my son went to school clean every day with clean clothes on, clean shoes, clean socks, clean drawers? You're mad at me because when I found out my son needed to wear glasses, I took him to the doctor and got his glasses? You're mad at me because I baked cookies and sent my son to school with desserts and snacks? You're mad at me because I made sure when my son came home, he had dinner on the table, he had breakfast, lunch, dinner, and a side snack and a snack in between? You're mad at me because I did things with my son outside of schoolwork, outside of the household. I took him to the carnival. I took him to amusement parks. I took him to the library. You mad at me because I read to my son and I was teaching my son how to read and teaching my son how to do his ABCs before he could walk? So you're mad at me because I did all the things with my son that you didn't do with me? Huh. I would be mad at me too. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't the puppet master when it came to my son. I educated my son and I taught my son about life. And I didn't hide anything from my son. I was preparing my son for the world. I was preparing my son how to treat a woman, because I can't teach my son how to be a man because I'm not a man. But I can teach my son how to treat a woman. So you're mad at all those things? I get it. I'll be mad too. But those people sat around and didn't do nothing. Didn't do nothing. And now when you're older as an adult and you sitting back and you thinking and you're thinking about all the pain you went through, all the things you went through with your parents. And if you just go and ask them one question to why they did this to hurt you, the first thing they said, oh, you want to bring up old stuff. You want to create drama. Just by me asking you why you caused me pain, that's a bit excessive, don't you think? That's a bit weird, don't you think? That I can't ask you anything, but yet you can criticize and critique my parenting skills? And you want to control everything, Mrs. Puppet Master? That's a bit far. Because as I can remember as a child, I got beat for eating a lot of cheese. I didn't have a rug on my floor. I didn't even have a light bulb in my room. I had a non-working TV in my room, even though, that's not important. But my brother had a TV. He had a color TV, to be exact. I had a small little black and white TV that didn't even work. You didn't ever read to me because you couldn't read. You didn't teach me ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. You didn't teach me how to cook. You didn't teach me how to bake. You took me to the carnival, but you dropped me off. You never took me to the library. You never took me to any museums. You didn't teach me anything about my history. You didn't teach me anything about being a young lady. You didn't even sit me down and talk to me when I had my menstrual cycle. Let's see. You taught me how to read witchcraft books. You taught me how to count money in the dark. You taught me how to not let a man control me with sex, per se. That's all you taught me. You didn't teach me anything of the importance. I was working since I was 12, 13 years old, buying my own school clothes. You didn't take me to get my hair done like that. That's how I ended up learning how to do hair, because I wanted my hair done like the other girls. So I taught myself at the age of 6 how to do hair. So I've been doing hair ever since the age of 6, making wigs. You didn't take me shopping like mothers do their daughters, or have mother and daughter outings. We never got our nails done. We never went to the day spa together. We never even had a damn picnic together. But you have an issue with my parenting skills. I still have messages on my phone right till today. Teachers calling me at 9 o'clock at night telling me how of an awesome son my son is, and how she would love to have more students like him in her school, in her class. So Mrs. Puppet Master, try again. But for some reason, everybody was scared of her. And I still don't understand why everybody is so afraid of her. Everybody is so afraid to talk back. Everybody is so afraid to stand up. Everybody is so afraid to hold her accountable for her mess. Now, people that's listening that don't know me, or this is your first time listening to my podcast, don't take what I'm saying and don't think that I don't love my mother, because I do. I love my mother. As I stated before, if my mother was to get sick right now to where she couldn't take care of herself, I would take care of my mother. And no, I wouldn't do her like Evelyn did. I think that's her name. On the Tyler Perry movie, when she done Old Boy in the Tub and watched the little bubbles. Now, I would love to, but no, I would not do that to her. I would make sure she lived her days out as comfortable as possible. Because you want to know why? That's what God would want me to do. And me or her are different. We are not the same. But at the same time, I am angry, and I do feel some type of way of how I was treated by the hands of her, by the hands of my mother, by the hands of the woman that was put here, that was used as a vessel for me to get here to protect me. She's supposed to be my protector, but she was my first bully. So you and no one else listening to this that has something negative to say about what I'm saying, about my journey, about what I went through, the hell with you. I could care less what you think. Because this is my testimony, this is my pain, this is my journey, this is my experience, this is what I went through. And I'm not going to water down what I went through just to make you feel some type of way, or to make the situation seem more than what it is. I'm not going to do that. This is my truth. But that doesn't take away the fact that I still love my mother throughout everything that I've been through with her, throughout even the stuff that I'm still going through with her. Finding out a few months ago that my mother was teaching my son to put witchcraft on me. I still love my mother. So don't get it twisted. I still have feelings. And my feelings are valid. My feelings matter. And you're going to respect me and my boundaries and my feelings, no matter who you may be in my life. Or whoever is listening to my podcast and want to judge. I don't care. You can say whatever you want to say, because your opinions is like buttholes. Everybody has one. But the whole purpose of this podcast is to shine a light on certain situations and issues, especially as being a black woman here in America, the things that we endure, the things that we go through. We are the number one unprotected species in this world. And it's so many other women that's walking on this earth that shares the same pain that I do, that have been through some of the same similarities that I have. And that don't have a voice or don't have no one that they can talk to about it. So God picked me. And that's what my purpose is. And that's what I'm here to do, is to shed a little light on what I went through. And maybe it can help at least one person. And if it does, even if I don't hear about it, God knows about it. And it will make him proud. You know, I've been doing so much of my life and trying to do so much of my life to make my parents proud, even make my mother proud, even though she can't stand me. But that was my number one goal in this world, was to make my parents proud. But I missed the mark. I'm making a wrong parent proud. It's God who I want to be proud of me. It's God who I want to have the last say-so, to say, well done. Or at least you done enough to be in my presence. To be in the presence of the Lord is my goal. Not to get the improvement or you did a well done by my earthly parents. Because as you can see, as you can hear, my mother doesn't like me. But I'm still trying to please her. I'm still trying to make her happy. So therefore, it's the Heavenly Father that I'm trying to please, that I'm trying to make happy, that I want to hear, well done. So yeah, your judgment, your imaginations, and your face turned up, I don't care. I don't care. You can take whatever type of negativity you want from my podcast, from my episodes, and you can shove them straight up your ass as far as your fingers are allowed to go. And I'm just keeping it light. Because no one would make me feel some type of way about what I went through. I'm not a victim, I'm a survivor. I've been through so much pain. Some caused by others and some caused by myself. But nevertheless, it was pain. Nevertheless, it is pain that turns into mental illness. And I went so many days on this earth not protecting my mental illness. But not no more. That is my number one priority. Every day God wakes me up is to protect my mental illness. And if that means removing certain people out of my life, no matter what your title may be, whatever the title you may hold in my life, if you're causing me any sort of mental illness that's not beneficial, bye. Yeah. And I mean that. I stand 10 toes down on that. No more puppet masters in my life. And anybody, just like the Diddy trial, everybody's out talking about it, especially, the security guard guy or whatever. I'm not really following it, but I hear bits and pieces of it. But he got so much to say. And you was the main one that sat around and saw these activities happen, especially with these kids. And you didn't say anything, but now you want to sit up and say something. It reminds me so much of that. It reminds me so much of the R. Kelly situation, where everybody has so much to say about this man peeing on these little girls. Yeah, no, it's not right. But some of the parents knew what was going on, but because they was getting them green dollars, they didn't say anything. A lot of people knew what was going on, but didn't say anything. But now you want to say something. Shut up. Like when I was with my first husband, and so many people sat around and saw what was going on and didn't say nothing. They knew his character. But then after we finally separated and the shit hit the fan and he tried to kill me twice, now you want to say something. Shut up. Now with the situation with my mom, I'm coming out and I'm talking about it. And I'm telling her in a perspective that nobody really sees or nobody wants to talk about. But now you got your opinion. Oh, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't say that. You should keep that as a family secret. Shut up. Like, shut the fuck up. But you sat around and you let this woman beat the shit out of me. You let this woman try to control me. You let this woman put witchcraft on me. Yeah, it's people that know about that. My niece, my oldest brother's daughter, is the one that told me. And I wasn't speaking to her for a few years because she acts just like her father. I don't have time for that, no matter who you are. I don't have time for that. She's very disrespectful, but I still love her. But she's very disrespectful. But she just came out of nowhere after, 2-3 years I haven't talked to her. And want to talk about she missed me and love me. Why you miss me? That's my first question. Okay, what do you want? My second question. How may I help you? My third question. But, I tried to give her another chance to be in my life to see, how she was going to, roll with this thing. So I'm following her lead at this point. And she happened to tell me that my mom was teaching my son to put witchcraft on me. Don't know when she started. Don't know if she's still doing it. But I know she tried. Because that's what was told to me. She knew, my oldest brother knew, so many other people knew. But did you think anybody picked up the phone to call me to tell me, but yet you say that we don't have an issue? No one picked up the phone to bother to say, hey, Lisa, I know we may not be speaking, but I want to tell you something that's really serious because we know that this stuff is serious in the family. We know this. My family knows this. But, grandma or mom is putting witchcraft on you, and I don't think that's cool, no matter, what the issue may be between her. The issue that's between me and my mom witchcraft should not even be a part of that. Witchcraft should not even been in the equation because it's not that serious that you would go so far as to try to hurt me with the devil. You try to hurt me with the devil. That's something right there. But y'all didn't feel the need to say anything. You didn't feel the need to say, hey, Lisa, this is going on. This is serious. This is something serious. No, you didn't. The puppet master. Then on top of that, my birthday had just passed, and I haven't talked to my mom in almost 3 years. 3-4 years I haven't talked to my mom. And all of a sudden, I was up that morning listening to this lady talk about witchcraft and listen to this lady talk about your parents and stuff like that. And no sooner than I got done with that video, my mom called me at 7 something in the morning. At first, I wasn't going to answer it, but I did. And it was certain words that she said that kind of spiked up my little antennas. And she was like, yeah, on your special day, enjoy your special day. You're going to be getting more phone calls throughout the day on your special day. And then she just kept saying other stuff. And I'm like, okay, thank you, Ma. And she was like, love you, bye. She didn't even stay on the phone no more than, A hot 2 minutes. I'm like, okay. So later on that day, I get a text message from my son. I get a text message from my middle brother. I told my son, I said, well, I'd rather hear your voice instead of a text message. Because once again, he's on that side of the fence. He's on that side of the grass. So he says, okay, he said, I'm at work. I'll call you. Later on that day, he did call. We talked or whatever. I did not know that my two aunts had called me as well until I had checked my voicemail. They had called me. My aunt has never told me happy birthday. Never, never, never. And I had turned 44 years old. They never told me happy birthday. Even when I was younger, they never told me happy birthday. One of the aunts that called me, I'm actually going through that situation with her son, the one that wants to eat the jelly donut out of my butt. Yeah, that's her son. She don't really like me. She actually stopped talking to me and act like she had an attitude with me when it hit the fan that her youngest son was touching me. So I was a bit curious to why she called me on my birthday. And then the other aunt that was on the phone, she's a twin of my mother's brothers, out of my mother's brothers and sisters. She's never told me happy birthday. This lady has never called me to talk to me. This lady, no. She's never really act like an aunt. So I was surprised. But of course, that's not even a word, excuse me. Of course, the puppet master, y'all must have had a conversation with her. And she must told you that my birthday was coming up. And y'all decided to call, or she told y'all to call, whatever reason why she told y'all to call. But that's when my aunt told me that my mother had, she felt some type of way, quotation marks in the air, about my parenting skills. And so that's when we had that conversation about why they was one of the people why they didn't protect me. They claimed they didn't know about the beatings and blah, 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 blah. And I say, that's bullshit. You knew. You knew more than you let on. Both of y'all knew. But nevertheless, everybody tends to listen to the puppet master. My brother sure does. My middle brother. And all the stuff that my oldest brother done been through with her, he just started calling her mom maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago. He just started calling her mom. Because my 11:11, I always try to pray. Give me 1 second. Excuse me. But my mother didn't raise him. They had a horrible relationship. But now they best of friends. Whatever. Okay. Yay. But she was the puppet master over him. To a certain degree. She's definitely the puppet master over him now. But she couldn't do that with me. She still can't. And she don't like it. She can't stand it. Maybe that's why she hates me so. I don't know. I would never find out why she hate me. Why she don't like me. Probably would never know. Maybe God will tell me on Judgment Day. But that's just a few things that I went through with her by being a puppet master. But if you happen to have somebody that you deal with, like I said, it could be a parent, could be a brother, sister, family member that acts like the puppet master. I wouldn't mind hearing your story. I wouldn't mind hearing your thoughts of how you handle them, or what you go through with them. But this is where I'm going to end this episode. Next episode, we're going to be talking about hidden secrets. But after each episode, I always leave my email information. You could send a comment, a positive comment. You could tell your story. You could just say hi if you want to, or you just need someone to talk to. But that email is distanttraumas with the S podcast@gmail.com. That's distanttraumas with the S podcast@gmail.com. And after every episode, I always end in a Bible scripture. This week is Luke 18:14. I tell you that this man, rather than the other, went home justified before God. For all those who accept themselves will be humble. And those who humble themselves will be exalted. Until next time, be blessed. I love you. God loves you. And if you haven't prayed today, pray. Because prayer does changes things. Talk to you next time. Bye. I just pray that you get it. Yeah, I just pray that you get it.